Guys, do me a favor, as per usual, leave a 1 down into the building if you can hear and or see me correctly. It's been a minute. Been busy. Last couple of weeks. I want to say it's like a month and some change since the last time that I've been live. So I figure, why not? Let's come up here and do an MTR movie night with your good old buddy, your good old pal, MTR. Hold up, it's been a minute since I've done that, so let me make sure that I am set up correctly, and then we are going to get active. We are going to get started. We're going to make sure that the stream shows us respect. We're going to have some fun here today. We might learn a thing or two. We're going to get it popping. But above all and above else, we must get active. Shout out to everybody that's coming down into the building. I'm seeing some of the chats come through. What up, what up, what up? Jonathan says, no way I'm first. You were not first. My boy Saltstorm up there beat you to the punch. What's good, though, my G? Big Flock 91, I see you. MTR, what's good, bro? What's up, my G? How are you? Jay Joaquin says, yeah. What's good, my G? How are you? Baruch says, shalom, brother MTR. Appreciate you, my G. Shout out to everybody that's coming down into the building. Guys, as per usual, let me make sure I get the thing set up appropriately. I wanted to do this conversation specific to Jubilee. Had a video that got over 1 million views that I completely missed. So I just wanted to go live about it. The title of the video is like male feminists versus female anti-feminists. I have not seen the concept, but just based off of the strength of that title, this is something that we're going to have to go in on. Guys, do me also a favor as well. Can you hear this? Can you hear that air horn when I just did that? Let me know. I'm going to go on Instagram and make sure that the IG family knows that we up here. Let me know. Put a 1 down to the building if you just heard that air horn. Oh, not that. Okay. Did you guys hit? Yeah, you heard it? Okay. Fantastic. Live on the YouTube channel right now. Come through. Great conversation. MTR movie night. Let's get active, all right? Live on the YouTube channel right now. Come through. Great. All right. Okay, you guys did hear it. Okay. Well, in that case, I was looking through my folder over here, and there is a theme song that I've been playing on the end of my songs, and I realized I never played it one time in the live stream, and I don't know why I have, besides that I just keep on forgetting that I have it. You guys know the MTR theme song? Let me play this real quick as you guys are coming down into the room. Guys, ensure as you come down into the building, this is the MT Army, you understand me? This is the community right here. Make sure you come in. Make sure you greet everybody. Make sure you wipe off your shoes before you come into the front door as well, right? Show me and the MT Army some respect. Make sure that they know where you from. Greet your neighbor, and let's get it popping, all right? Let's play the full theme song. Shout out to Big Bass Life, another YouTuber down in the streets, actually made this.
Oh, man, yo, if only Kevin Samuels was alive to see this.
We go play the whole thing before we get active right here. I wanted to shout this brother out. Hey. Hey.
Reaction my passion with better views. Critiques and competing to your reviews. So without further ado, cut through the BS like we in charge. No capital rappers like steel bars. Packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views.
Come on.
And I pay my dues. Bitch, step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound when it's MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound when it's MTR.
We gonna do it one more time.
No one put it down like it's MTR.
Oh, man, yo.
One more time.
Kevin Samuels was alive.
Shout out to Big Bass Life.
This. The prettiest women.
The brother went in. You understand what I'm saying? I wanted to show love, support, and respect real quick. Come on.
To get active.
Gotta subscribe, it's MTR. If they like, leave a comment, it's free of charge. Get active, no acting, we minute large. Without further ado, let's set it off. Excuse them who? Reaction my passion with better views. Critiques and competing to your reviews. So without further ado, MTR. Cut through the BS like we in charge. No capital.
That boy made a bop.
I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, and share my views. Come up and I pay my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR. Check out the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR. MTR. He break it down, yeah, it's MTR.
That boy went
Check out
in.
the sound with his MTR. No one put it down like it's
Fire
MTR.
emojis down into the chat.
MTR. MTR.
Fire emojis in the chat.
MTR. MTR.
Without further ado. Questions, comments, concerns.
Hey.
You already know what to do. Me over the tutorials and reviews at gmail.com.
Shout out to that brother right there. Shout out to that brother. All right, Big Bass Life. I had to show you some love, support, and respect. I was going through my list of things over here. I'm like, man, this brother, you gotta salute and respect talent at the end of the day. And shout out to that brother. Talented, super talented. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So guys, go over, see what his content is about as well. Some of the mods, shout out to Gail. I see you, mama. Linking Big Bass Life down into the comment box, the live chat box. Shout out to you, brother. Super talented brother. I thought I'd shout him out real quick. All right. Guys, here's one other thing I wanted to show you guys just for housekeeping notes. Your boy has a website. Shout out to mtarmy.com. Uh-oh. We're official now. You understand me? I get a little bit concerned in these YouTube streets. Like, shit, am I about to get canceled? So I'm like, damn, I need to make a place on the internet where people can go and find your boy. You understand me? How to make a place on the internet where you can go and find your boy. It's a little bit big right now. Hold on, let me make this a little bit smaller. How to make a place to go and find your boy. Just a simple website. That was the goal. All right, you'll see, you're coming to mtarmy.com. There's a link to it down in the description box down below as well. Now, it's not done. Okay, it's not done. It's got some optimization issues right now, but that's neither here nor there, okay? Yeah, but I think it's okay enough to start telling people about it, all right? So you can come in, you can see all of my relevant links. I even have a Reddit. Let me click on a Reddit real quick, because most people don't even know that there's a Reddit. The Reddit is /r/mtarmy. That's the official Reddit. All right, the link to TikTok, Facebook, Patreon, if you want to donate, all of the appropriate links right there. Also, real quick, if you guys are interested in booking a consultation, whether it's a personal life discussion or YouTube consultation, you can do it by this link over here. I'm also putting a link to the Discord, as well as if you want to join the newsletter. Everything else on the website, super simple. It's a feed from my YouTube channel, so you can see what videos up here. Links in relevant video to the Modern Man's Playbook, and then some merch. After that, nothing else. Wanted to keep it super sweet, super simple. mtarmy.com. Again, it's got some optimization issues right now, but it's neither here nor there. You guys can go up there and do all of the simple stuff within the website as well. All right? All right. So listen, what are we talking about here today? Jubilee did a discussion, male feminists versus female anti-feminists. It's one of their middle ground conversations, which I find those conversations to be super dope. What they do is that they get diametrically opposed viewpoints, diametrically opposed people within those viewpoints to have a discussion. They ask them a series of questions. They ask them, you know, if you agree with this, sit here. If you don't, go somewhere else, and they have them discuss about it. I think it's an interesting format. They've been known to edit shit out savagely. But nevertheless, let's get active on it, all right? So go get your popcorn. Go get your red cup, if that's what you're feeling like on a Monday night. And let's get in there, all right?
Can I ask you a question, though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership...
that's a good thing. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of emotion right now.
All right, let's get in there.
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges today than men.
went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have, but with this new feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action hiring and scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing or achievement, are prioritized above men. But men also have different privileges that they get to access.
All right, hold on. Let me call out some things that I'm noticing right here. Okay, again, it's male feminist, female anti-feminist. Okay. I'm surprised she's an anti-feminist. I will say that. Why is that? Because she's letting the hyperinflated mammary glands loose onto the world. That seems like feminist behavior to me. Okay? That's odd. All right? Girl to the left, biker jacket. I don't think there's anything much out of the ordinary right there. Let me go back. This girl right here, I know her from the PragerU YouTube channel. And I believe that she is like a conservative. She has a story about her going, like being raised as like liberal leftist and then eventually transitioning to be like right to middle leaning. But she's a personality in that PragerU space. And then this other lady, she has on a blouse with a full black shirt under it. I just thought that was odd. I don't think I've ever seen no shit like that before, but but it is what it is, though. So we got an interesting grouping on the anti-feminist side. All right, let's keep it rocking.
Prioritized above men, but men also have different privileges that they get to access.
Like, why? I'm just so confused. Why wear the strapless if you're also going to wear a long sleeve turtleneck? Is that a turtleneck? It's going far up on her neck. Like, why do this? This is confusing to me. But anyway, let's keep going.
Yes, I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement now. There is more.
If you are born into this life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man. From the time they are little, girls are always like doted on and you're so pretty and cute.
Very coddled.
They're coddled,
Yeah.
right? As they should be, you know? We want that feminine, nurturing energy in them. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans. Yeah. Men don't have that privilege. Now, women don't have to like work to get a guy. They're just hot. And then guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence. He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally by just having a vagina, as I said.
That's why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement
She
has
RP
been
as fuck.
all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that
you know,
they only
like,
I would say the
yet
one
they
thing I
only
would
have.
say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say is that women are disadvantaged from. By nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
These great biceps. And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
We're going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. The Duluth model, I think is how you pronounced it. And
The Duluth model focuses on men who commit the crime of the domestic violence and female victims. Its theory is based on an understanding of male power, control, and dominance as culturally and historically pervasive, and which allowed, if not encouraged, men to control women, sometimes using violence. National Institution of Justice Crime Solutions.
that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything, but it's certainly in all of the police departments. Is that feminism is all about equality. Why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally who have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna join, like, this seems fun. Like,
For clout.
it's not
For
fun.
clout.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it becomes
And the
inherently harmful.
victimization
It
of women who
encouraged people.
aren't really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. It's that's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
I ain't gonna lie to you, they popped off. Yo, they all popped off right there. It is not much that I could disagree with right there. Let's just keep it rocking. I wonder what the guys are gonna say.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction of more versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like, women that must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was a woman who was...
But I don't think we're including trans women into feminism.
And I think we definitely should.
I don't think we should at
all.
Oh, this is gonna get good. Is it a coincidence that the first male feminist that we hear from has an extremely feminine voice? Is it a coincidence that the first male feminist that we hear from wants to already put in male, biologically born males into this idea of woman? Oh God, there's so much soy in that boy. I don't know what to do with him. Let's keep going.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a child. It's anything from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month, and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
I do have a question for you based on the prompt, though, because you've lived in both experiences, at least socially. I'm curious, when you transitioned to male and people started perceiving you as male, like most people did today, what privileges changed for you, or what did you see enter your life that you didn't have before?
Okay, so that's a trans man. So, okay, so this person used to be a woman and is now transitioned into a man. That's why the voice is like that. That's why this person thinks that they should be included within that. And that's also why this person is a male feminist, which is so crazy because you're not a male. You're still a female because you were born a biological female. But you're on a panelist of male Send the asteroid. Shout out to Optimus Prime with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, my G, for starting us off here today. MTR doing God's work. Appreciate you, my G. All right, let's see how the female feminists reacts to that.
Yeah, and that's sort of where a lot of my beliefs in feminism do lie, is because being out into the world as a gay woman was the way I was seen. Men treated me definitely not nearly as well as they did. I was bullied in school. I had people call me slurs, and it seemed like it was because I was threatening to like the male structure that we are in, where it's like male and female. Because I was a female who liked females, I was somehow infringing on that, and so they didn't like me. Things change naturally when you socially transition and are perceived by the world in a different way. When I transitioned from being perceived as female to the world to just pretty much passing or blending full-time as male, was that I got a lot more respect from other men. People listened to me and took me seriously. In a social passing setting, people aren't going to harass women who are around me if I'm walking with them at night, which is just a benefit I never thought about.
So caveat, actually, so I say that, yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't, but also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well, they
for
can get you
child
for child
support.
support.
Did this man really just say that? I am.
Which they
But
do.
are you saying she can't run away? Are you saying
They
she
could take
can't
your
run away
money.
from the pregnancy?
But you could actually.
Did this man really just say that a man can just run away and that is a privilege? That is the dumbest shit that I have ever heard in my goddamn life. What is it that you are talking about, my G? Like, are you goddamn serious? Holy moly, where did he find these people at? Shout out to Shaz Andrade with the $10 super chat with the fire emoji. Appreciate you. That shit is so crazy to me. It's just like, a privilege would be the decision to keep the child, while the man does not have the decision to keep the child. A woman can have the child and give it up for adoption. A woman can choose to terminate the pregnancy. And these are privileges that men do not have access to. If a man has a child and he runs, that is illegal. It's illegal, you moron. How is it a privilege if it's illegal? How? These guys are gonna get cooked the entire show, aren't they?
Physically leave.
Leave.
I know what you're
Physically
saying.
leave. At the end of the day, I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same. There's no way to objectively measure it.
Well, and in the scenario that you
This guy said that women do not have more privileges as when. Excuse me. Women do not have more privileges than men because there's no way to weigh it. Even if you sit in front of him and you rattle off all of the double standards and all of the privileges, but there's no way to weigh it. What? How is that a goddamn...
pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the country.
yes. In some states,
That's a major disadvantage.
Yeah.
You can't get an abortion,
No,
but
but
children can
what?
go get a gender change at 12 with a
Feels
parent
like you're
at
very
15
fixated on that.
without consent.
That's not true.
It feels like you're very
as
fixated
someone who
on
went
that.
I know the laws as well.
I went through this.
I know, in some states you can, and in Thailand you can go at 16 and get your everything cut off.
Guys, it's less than 5%.
I know.
It
It's such a
doesn't
small.
matter.
It's such a small
It doesn't
subset
matter.
of the
Like,
population.
But you can't say that about, it does matter though. When you have a child, you're not a
That's
parent
between
yet.
the parent and the child.
Can I ask you a question though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership.
that's a good thing.
I know it's
Well, he
weird
was
coming
talking
from
to
me,
me.
but I do want to know. It doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
I don't feel bummed out because I know that if I want to pursue something that I want to do, I have every capability to do it in this country.
I don't feel bummed out. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of
emotional,
emotions
too. Men
right
can be
now.
impulsive.
I'm not saying that men can't be emotional.
Like we had a
Men are
president.
more
We had a
logical.
president who would literally just
And now
go
we
on
have a
Twitter
president whose
every
brain
day,
doesn't
every
work.
second.
Wait, one person so she can hear us.
To be logical and to be sound.
I think calling Trump emotional just kills his entire argument. I think Trump is the absolute opposite of emotional.
It's not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own psychology.
The left and right brained, it
That's just
actually
false.
is though.
That's
That's
just
not
false.
false. It's not
Come
false.
on, man.
It is
Come on.
not
Really?
false.
Really?
I know, your question about leadership, I think, is a very poignant question because a lot of people are asking that. Why don't we see more female presidents? Why don't we see more female CEOs or Fortune 500 companies? And again, it goes back to those gender differences. There will be
Yes.
women who will be exceptions
She's
to
good.
the generalized rule of what it means to be feminine. And those women you will see succeed in extreme leadership. But we should also discuss what the conditions of extreme leadership are. We're talking 80-hour work weeks, subscribing yourself to your career and nothing else.
Correct.
Family,
And
children.
psychologically and biologically, women tend to lean in the direction of not making those choices for
Talk to
themselves,
'em.
while men are highly competitive, they are highly analytical, systematic, they're willing to put in that time and take extreme measures to gain career status.
Exactly.
But in an
Perfectly
egalitarian
said.
society, it's about having that choice to make that decision. And
Yes.
that's what
And when they have that choice to make that decision, they more so often choose jobs or industries much more aligned to traditional gender roles. This guy, he's new on the block. I gotta already tell, he's doing this simply for the viscous innards. This is a pure vagina play. He works out all day, and now he's a male feminist because he thinks that's gonna double his ability to get the insides of these women. Like, how are you so far astray from reality, my G? Like, everything that you say is incorrect thus far. Everything.
what feminism
But we
is about.
do,
It's
but
about
we already
having-
have that choice.
We do have
If
that
I want to go
But
own
it's
my own
being-
company, I
it's being
can.
restricted.
Like I said in the beginning, we've all agreed that the beginning of feminism was going in the right
Humanizing
direction.
women,
It
right?
was humanizing women. It was making them equal
the
to men.
beginning was
It
cool.
was giving us the same opportunities so that we can go vote, so that I can go get a job, so that I can drive a car. Like
She can
there's
run for
other
president if
countries
she wants.
that I know that we weren't talking about other countries, but if you want to talk about feminism, go protect the women who get beat up for driving a car in other
Yes.
countries.
You know what's so crazy about that is that I legit had, this was got like two and a half years ago or something like that. I legit had a young woman on my show that grew up in Saudi Arabia. Legit grew up in Saudi Arabia up to the age of like 15, 16 years old. Grew up in a complete patriarchy, completely. And is in America and is a feminist in America. And I'm just like sitting here talking to her, I'm just like, wait a minute, you can't see the differences in where you grew up compared to the way that you were treated in America, and just no. She just rides, just full steam ahead, just no logic, straight irrationality, doesn't understand the double standards, doesn't understand her privileges, and men are currently oppressing her in America. Oh, this shit just goes so goddamn deep. That's how crazy the psychosis, the westernized feminist ideology psychosis actually is. To convince a woman that grew up actually in a patriarchy, actually where you don't have equal rights, actually where you're not allowed to drive, actually, over here complaining about the State of the Union here, forever a victim of her existence, forever.
Men are falling behind in society.
I just think, I mean, we have amazing men here today. It's an honor
thank
to
you.
be on this
You
panel
barely
with
know
you, to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men are not able to be men anymore because of the feminists, modern
Is she a content
feminist
creator?
propaganda. I coach men in my practice and they tell me like, I don't even know what I can do on a date anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I gonna get in trouble for this
In
now?
her practice.
Like I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around her waist, but maybe that's gonna, I'm gonna be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous, be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what
Respond,
you said.
please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a
God.
positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have.
Oh,
Part of
God.
where I'm coming from with this is I'm trans. So I was born female. Now I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am and
Okay.
be a man.
And no disrespect to your process. I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go
This
through.
guy is,
but I see a woman
this woman
still.
guy is
I
deep.
feel feminine energy from you.
That's all right. I
And
totally
so when you
respect
say
that.
you're a man, then it's like, I don't see that.
The way I think about it is more
jeez.
like about individual choice and individual freedom. And if I want to say that I have feminine energy and people view me as masculine or vice versa, then that's their problem, that's not my problem. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to.
But that's a
not
very
how
dangerous
feminism
society.
started. That's
to
not how
say-
feminism started, though. Yeah, we went from, wanting equal rights for women and equality for women, and now it's
Humanizing
kind of
women, right.
humanizing women,
Yes.
making it to where I think we all agree, women now are equal to men, and with like third and fourth wave feminism, especially fourth wave feminism, it's kind of turned into individuality, like you said.
It doesn't take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to. I don't need somebody like Andrew Tate to be like, you're not a man unless you do this. I also don't need a woman to come up and be like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. And it's the same.
Okay, I'm starting to sense something with the big guy. Either he's also trans or a part of the Rainbow Coalition.
Femininity. I'm not going to tell you how to be a woman. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like you have a daughter. Do you really want to be guided by the ambiguous, define yourself as however you want to define yourself. And for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn themselves back and say there's a lot of dissatisfaction when the root of the problem wasn't the gender, it was everything else.
There's actually
Let's slow down, though.
very
I
low
feel like
rates of detransitioning, but that's neither here nor there.
That's also a minority of the population.
Feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
well, because there's so much data to support
can you repeat what's the main question?
Do you want your daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man, and that she doesn't need a man, and that it's better off for her to be alone and put her career first and not have children?
I think it's more likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like we would navigate that together. But that, to me, it doesn't scare me. And I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad because because my son, I encourage him. I say, you are to be, and I really don't care the backlash. You're supposed to be attracted to women. And
Isn't
I tell
that a lot
him,
of pressure?
and I ask him,
but what if he's not?
Because life for transgender individuals, and my son's African American as well, is very freaking hard. I don't know if you can swear, I'm sorry.
You can.
It's very hard. Do you know this to be true?
Asking people or putting pressure on your son or putting pressure on my daughter to not...
I just tell them.
Okay, but to not be their true self, if that's truly how they feel,
But that's
it feels like that would be...
They're not their true self.
This that's this way. It's society has influenced everybody to be like, you know.
So when you say I can identify, I can be whatever I want. If I want to say, I'm Beyonce today, I can now just be Beyonce.
But do you actually believe that?
I do. I don't think you believe
Can we talk about
it.
the problem?
Let's roll back.
The problem's about men falling behind.
Here's the other thing. Men are falling behind. Is it because of feminism, or is there socioeconomic factors that we're not looking at?
Well, how do we define
no.
behind?
Let's
Yeah,
look,
what do you see as falling behind?
What's falling behind? So people in America, not just men, everybody is getting poor. This has nothing to do with feminism.
That's not true. That's a mental state.
No, it's not
That's
true.
a mentality.
This is economic data.
How the hell, listen, just really, like outside of all the content, how the hell can you listen to the four Super Saiyan soy boys on the left and think that ideologies like this is how you lead nations, how you lead countries? Right, like if these were the people, these were the ideologies at the top of our politics, do you know how quickly we would be run over? Do you know how quickly we would be taken over? How could you listen to them in their everybody is equal? There's no boundaries. Everybody can just figure it out. Right, like there's no structures, there's no frameworks, there's no hierarchies. How can human beings with a logical mind listen to the way that they talk about things and think that that's the way that we should be living as human beings? That there's no mistakes, there's no failures. Everybody gets a participation trophy. Oh, little Timmy wants to wear nail polish to school. It's okay. That's just what he feels like. That's like saying, if I had a son or a daughter and they wanted to eat ice cream every night, oh, that's just the way that they feel. I just feel like ice cream is, what? Are you serious? Like, are y'all bugging? What? So why? So, and if you don't agree, so why is the ice cream shit? Oh, like, no, I'll make sure that he's not eating ice cream every night. But then on the other side, as far as his gender, his assignment, his XY chromosomes, all of a sudden the structure's gone. Because of the dogma of this feminist ideology today, that's what y'all minds are so wrapped up in to a degree for you just not to see the forest beyond the trees. Holy shit. This is so weak. It's so whack, right? Like, it's hard to have conversations with people like this. It's just like, no, let them be free. Let them choose whatever it is that they want to. As if not having a structure or it's just like, shit, you get a goddamn furniture set from IKEA with no damn instructions, and they tell you to put that shit together. That's y'all goddamn lives. Got goddamn desks looking like cabinets and shit like that. Got beds looking like goddamn couches and shit like that because y'all are just fucking up life that badly. Some of y'all need instruction manuals. I've been doing a whole bunch of adult entertainer content over the past 1 to 2 weeks. And the common theme is a lot of these women just do shit. they just do shit. And then later on in life, they feel and they understand the consequences of their actions. Well, if you gave them a playbook or a manual earlier off in life, before they made those dumbass decisions to put their box, their monkey meat, their viscous innards online, perhaps they wouldn't be crying on the internet a decade later. Jesus. Shout out to the super chat that's coming in. Uh-oh, I missed a bunch. Hold on. Y'all got me pissed. These male feminists they just make my skin crawl. Oh. Sheesh. I don't know if it's hard for me to look at men with voices of that octave. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jacob Heck with the $10 super chat. These dudes. Hold on. Your boy's been a little sick over the past week as well. Anyway, shout out to Jacob Heck with a $10 super chat. These dudes, the kind of guys to ask a girl something like, is it okay if I hold your hand? They don't like that shit. You understand me? Uh-oh. Shout out to Melanie King in the building with the Chapeau, the $20 super chat. What up, Melanie? If you guys are unfamiliar with Melanie, y'all should go get to know her. Go to her channel, hit the subscribe button, and then come and mosey your ass back on over here. You understand me? What does Melanie say? He would marry Riley Reid and invite men over to black her, then thank them. Jesus, that got dark. In more ways than one. Shout out to Melanie with the $20 super chat. Yeah, this is the exact same type of guy that would. Oh, she was a porn star? It's okay. She's with me now. Now it's our special time. Body count doesn't matter, because that's what my feminist overlords tell me. So what? She's got 80 bodies up under her belt. 80 men. 80 men. What's the average eggplant size? Like 5 inches? What's 5 times 80? Right, you got a goddamn 20 feet. Is that 20 feet? You got like 20 feet of eggplant that's been inserted inside of you and pumped vigorously as a man sweated on top of you. 80? It's probably over 20 feet. Someone do the math. I can't do it right now, all right? Shout out to Millie King with a $20 super chat. Who else we got down up in here? Emperor Azen with a $10 super chat. The amount of happiness in the comments after hearing she messes with black guys says a lot. It's some loser in here. I'm a loser too. But still, who said that? The chick with the incredibly massive injected mammary glands. Is that who we talking about? Because she has a black son. Shout out to Thurman Peoples Jr. with the $20 super chat. There are no standards in this panel of men. Can't chop wood with these boys. Shout out, my G. Appreciate the $20 super chat. Lag out.
I'm not getting that.
Well, you can blame your president for that.
Okay,
And
back
the other
to the
thing
prompt.
is, what do you define as masculinity? It can be subjective from culture to culture.
What do you define
I
masculinity
think masculinity is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be this objective thing where it's like, oh, you're masculine, you're not. Like, so it could be different from our society to another society. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole provider are not seen as masculine.
But are we talking about other countries or are we talking about the U.S.?
But even here, there are people who will say that's demasculating for a man to make less money than his wife.
I appreciate everything everyone's saying. I do want to talk about the prompt. When I heard the prompt and I heard that, I thought about men falling behind, I thought more like mental health, like suicide is more common with men.
We're going to go here.
No, but it's true. Like men commit suicide at higher rates.
It's not a cop-out. Like, I'm not saying mental health isn't an issue. That it is an issue, and obviously a lot of men are experiencing a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Have you heard like the term death of despair?
Men are committing suicide more. Men are dying from alcohol-related illnesses more, and they're also dying from drug abuse.
Hold on. Let's read this. The diseases of despair are 3 classes of behavior-related medical conditions that increase in groups of people who experience despair due to a sense that their long-term social and economic prospects are bleak. 3 classes of behavior-related medical conditions that increase in group of people who experience despair. Okay, never heard of that before. All right, let's go.
Use and drug overdose more.
Correct.
And that's an increasing trend in society.
Yeah.
And then you see
real.
educational
It is
gaps.
No, there's no denying that like young men are abandoning colleges at a rapid
Yeah, it's a
rate.
lot of pressure to be a man.
They're also
Like,
far
they're-
lonelier than women are right now.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
not
women are the
so-
least
Hold on,
obvious.
can I finish my point? Sorry. I'm like, don't let me lose my train of thought. They're
Shout out to Mr.
abandoning
Orange, $10
colleges.
super chat.
Women make up.
Thank you, brother.
They enroll in college at a 60% rate. Women are earning more than men nowadays, right? So
I
Yeah,
don't agree
well,
with
no,
that.
that
Not
is
Hold on,
true.
hold on, hold
We
on.
can get to the wage gap.
It's about enrollment. So are they having other jobs? Yeah, probably. But I'm saying like men are not going to these institutions. Why?
When you're saying lack of enrollment, there's more entrepreneurials in the entrepreneurial space than ever before in history. So I believe a lot of people are opting out of college as we had to pursue their venture. So that could be part of the reason why the enrollment has declined.
Can I
the
just
gig
go back to a
economy.
point that you said really quick,
Yeah,
where
go
you
ahead.
talked about
Yeah.
like the mental health of men and how
Me?
the
Yeah.
stigmatization of men addressing their mental health.
Yeah.
What system are we in that
Sure.
makes it so that men have this big stigma around our mental health where we can't
Yeah.
talk about it and the suicide rate goes
So
up?
I'll
We
tell-
are in a patriarchal.
Ah, shut up! I would say one of the biggest, one of the biggest reasons that men don't talk about their feelings in a relationships is because women deem that shit to be disgusting to them. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Men can't trust women with their emotions. I think men are far more apt to trust other men with their emotions. And that's what I tell the dudes on the channel. Trust your boys, trust your father. Talk to them about the shit that you might be going through, the mental health crisis. Now, it doesn't mean you can't find a goddamn diamond in the rough lady that will support you through some shit that you're going through. But just be careful, all right? Be goddamn careful. I don't think it's so much as this patriarchy shit that he's talking about at all. Not even a portion of it.
System.
No,
Hold on,
that's-
let me
That
tell you.
is
Let me
the-
tell you.
Those
So
are
the
those are the
way-
bounds we are within currently.
There's a lot
That's
of
toxic
Can I have
masculinity.
Mason complete his point? I'll encourage you to let the other person finish the point, and then, of course, you can take it forward, but let them talk.
Just
Same
real quick,
thing.
the systemic structures we are in
Yes.
are patriarchy. That is what has caused men to have this massive stigma around mental health.
She needs to
where we
challenge
don't
that we're in a
feel empowered to
patriarchy.
reach out. Men tend to not go to therapy. That leads to suicide. That leads to all of these big things. That's not caused by feminism. That was happening well before the
So,
feminist movement
hold on.
came into these
Let
new
him finish.
waves.
There's a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and economists, professors, all these people coming out saying that the actual psychology department is feminized. I know.
No, I'm processing what you're saying.
The psychology
It's weird, but
department?
the way that everything's processed.
Between 1995 and 2015, the number of women within academic psychology workforce more than doubled, an increase of 126%, and the representation increased from 37% to 53%. That's very interesting. I didn't know that. This also speaks to, I'll hold that thought. Let's keep going.
Is for women. So women and men process information differently. Men are like this in their brain. Women are, it's all over. And like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's
It
left brain,
means
right
that
brain.
When you
I wish it was
process
that
like
simple.
men need to solve the problem
Correct.
before they can process the emotion.
Women are
Women
emotional.
react on emotion.
Woman.
Yeah, that's it.
But so women have a tendency, not a tendency, they do better with talk therapy. That doesn't always work for men. Men do better when they are kind of working with a coach or somebody that's going to be like, this is what you have to do, and then come
Like
back
massive
see how you
action
did.
That's why mentors
So-
work. That's why men need.
He had a thought, though. Can we let
Yeah.
him finish his
So,
thought?
the same problems with the military, a lot of the suicide rate. Even though there is therapy services, they're actually actively discouraged. And it's because of this masculine energy in the military, because it is still even to this day, a very ultra masculine institution. And there's these negative energies saying like, hey, no, you shouldn't like go talk. That's what these fucking do.
But that's
But-
toxic
Well, it's
masculinity.
interesting
Yes,
that-
actually,
but it
That's
comes
not
from
patriarchy.
it comes from a
There's
place
a difference.
no, it comes from a place where it's like, oh, that's not what men do. Just suck it up and push on. And that's why a lot of these guys end up killing themselves.
But what branch were you in? Can I ask?
I was in the army. I
Okay.
was,
So you're an athlete, correct? And in the military, what is in the military that makes everything work within the military? It's a structure, right?
yes, it's a structure.
It's a system, right? Who runs the military? Who is at the very top of the command?
Oh, the commander-in-chief, the
Correct.
president of the United States. A couple hundred
But
years.
but I'm making a point here. So there's one person at the very top. Even if you take the commander-in-chief away, there's your general, right? Then there's lieutenant general, there's corporal, and I forget the, don't hate me, there's all those privates, et cetera. There's a system. One person is at the top of that system, and he has supporting members underneath him, all the way down to private. And that's what patriarchy was, quote, patriarchy was designed. It's a system of one person taking a leadership position, and they make decisions for the greater good, utilitarianism of all, meaning the family unit.
That's not really what
That-
patriarchy
And
means.
actually, that's
It
that's
is.
a
I
very-
looked
that's-
up the definition, actually.
That's actually a very
I
ideal
literally
one.
looked it up yesterday.
I feel
No, you're good.
I, feel like
I got
I really
lost.
need the male feminists also to respond because I feel like they've spoken 20%.
Yeah.
Once they're done with their thought, feel free to interrupt, but let them finish a sentence.
Okay, I want to talk. I'm going to talk. I mean, I do think men are falling behind. I feel like the world is just changing in a way where men don't have like a natural place to fit in, or it's not as intuitive as it used to be. And I think men are alone. I heard you throw out the word loneliness, and that does feel true. I just don't think that feminism did that. I just think like the world is changing.
What you said really resonated with me when we define falling behind. What I think about with men is that high suicide rate, that likeliness and proclivity towards violence and aggression. I think about loneliness and not being in relationships with which young men are struggling with a lot right now. And where I feel finding common ground and feminism does get right in a sense is that we should expand our horizons as far as how we view masculinity. Men should be able to cry, they should be able to be vulnerable, and that's something that we need to access. But also, these men who are feeling disillusioned with the world right now, they are seeking out male figures. We've seen, the rise of the Jordan Petersons or some of the personalities at the Daily Wire or the Andrew Tates. They are seeking out somebody who's telling them, I want you to access those masculine traits and harness them in a way. I would say Jordan Peterson's probably a more healthy role model for men than, say, an Andrew Tate, but men are going towards these more aggressive, masculinized traits and seeking out men that are trying to harness that for them.
Yeah.
I thought you made a really great point that I totally agree with, where men are looking for these role models of how to embody masculinity because we are falling behind and a lot of people don't know how to act. What's really important, and what I've seen, at least in my experience, like feminism bring up, is the idea of like Justin Baldoni doing his talk about being man enough for your woman, being man enough to be emotional, being man enough to support children.
Oh, Jesus
That's the
Christ.
type of manliness and masculinity I think needs to be embodied so that men can catch up and feel like there's a place for them. That's
So the masculinity that he's talking about that men need to catch up to is being more like a woman. Tell me you don't get it without telling me you don't get it. Men today are lost. It's like the lost boys syndrome. They're lost at every stage of it. Married men, zombies of their former selves, unable to speak clearly and concisely to the person that they married. High school boys, confused, unable to determine their purpose, their path, how to be just in life. Not having a framework or a structure or a masculine frame of reference to understand the decisions and the choices that they should be making within their lives. They're lost. They've lost a sense of purpose. It's a lot different decades ago when war was something that was an option. Because your life as a man, your purpose was tied to defense of your country through the honor of battle. Now we have technology where we can just sit out in front of it, overconsume porn, overconsume video games, overconsume drugs, overconsume alcohol. These young boys have nothing to fight for. They have no purpose. We have the lost boys syndrome in Western culture today. And on top of that, how many of these young boys don't have a father figure that's present? They're raised by a single mother. And their blueprint comes from a feminine base who more than likely had a bad relationship with a masculine authority figure. So where do they learn it from? That's why places such as the manosphere is a thing. That's how a Jordan Peterson can blow up out of nowhere. That's how an Andrew Tate can blow up out of nowhere. That's how a Kevin Samuels can blow up out of nowhere. And it's just crazy to see how many people that don't get it. That's why spaces like this exist.
That's something that we need to focus on, is making sure that people know how to embody masculinity in a way that's going to be beneficial for everyone.
Women should also be drafted into the military.
Uh-oh!
Let's do it.
If you're gonna vote, you might as well be drafted, baby. That's it.
Yeah, I believe rights come with responsibilities, and we are all responsible individuals. Granted, I'm glad we live in a society where we haven't had the draft since, like, I think Vietnam.
Vietnam,
I think Vietnam.
50 years ago.
I do think that maybe, like, we should relook at the draft and as other options, not just military service. So I was in the active duty military, and I was also in the National Guard, and I've fought wildfires, and like I've done crowd control. I've done a lot of other things. If you want the same rights, you have to have the same responsibilities, and I think that's just universal based on what you can do and your abilities.
This was a very difficult one for me to parse through, because I remember when I was getting my birth certificate changed, and it was like, all right, time to register for selective service, and I was like, oh God, I have to make this decision now to register.
You don't have a choice.
I know. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I will go through with finishing all this legal stuff up and register. And I think, like you said, there's lots of other responsibilities that men and women of different abilities and different strengths could fulfill within selective service if we needed it.
Drafted, correct me if I'm wrong, would be going into war, would be physically going and doing the actual combat.
A lot of the draftees in Vietnam didn't go see combat. They did supportive roles.
Okay.
It's selective service, so you register to be potentially needed to call for multiple different responsibilities.
But some of them are going.
Right, right.
Some of them, there was some bad cases.
The part that I would disagree with would be putting women on the front lines. We are physically capable to do a lot. You know, there's different boundaries for women who go into the military, who have to do boot camp, than there are for men. We can work women as hard as they can, but they're not going to work as hard as men are.
I actually got accepted into the Air Force, which would have been like very nice because I would have had a little desk job. But unfortunately, I was waiting for a job, so I went into Army. So I went through boot camp, and it was hell, and it really messed my back up even more than it already was. Our rationale skills and our logical thinking is not conducive to be able to be on the front grounds, to be able to make, oh my gosh, if I step here, this is gonna blow up, can I, like, we just think too emotionally. And that's why when we talked about leadership, it's the same thing. Being in those positions where like split-second decision could make or break, I don't think women have it in them to do that. And I don't think it's fair to men to be, if I was a man, I wouldn't want to be next to a woman and want to be carried out if I needed to be, if my life was depending on it.
I think it seems like a lot of the same discussions keep happening with these prompts, which is back and forth of how much is it nature, how much is it nurture, how much are there like intrinsic biological differences between men and women, and how much does that dictate our behavior and our physiology, our biology, versus how much of that is through social learning. So how much it's our culture in terms of,
Societal,
let's say, like
programming
on a
versus...
scale of 1 to 10, how high is your sex drive?
Very high. I'm a sex coach.
I'm not asking you personally.
I thought you were. I'm a sex.
So I wasn't asking you.
Sorry.
If you ask everyone that, you'll see on average differences between men and women. And because of that, I don't think we should dictate whether or not someone is drafted into the military. Because ultimately, I think individuals should have the freedom to make certain choices.
It's a draft, though.
Yeah, and they can go in if they want.
It's a
That's
draft,
the military.
and what you're saying, you don't think people should be treated differently because there can
Exactly.
be metrics
It's
that fall outside of the data.
differential treatment. That's
Of
what I'm
course,
getting
yeah.
at.
So there is differential treatment, but I would say that it's completely reasonable to do that because not only are we focusing on the differential treatment, but we're focusing on outcome. So if I'm expecting somebody to go into combat, which is the reason I didn't walk forward, you should also expect that person on an individual basis to be able to meet the exact same standard as every other man that they are going to be fighting with.
So the
Now-
military has made a change on that, by the way.
Yes,
they
they
have a
have.
new individual test that's based on what jobs you're going to do. If you're doing more combat
Sure.
roles, yes, you have to be stronger and tougher, and there are women meeting those standards. That's
Yes.
why
Yes,
things
I
are
agree.
changing. And like I said, I'm not for the draft at all, really. I think it's
Agreed.
a really bad thing. But if
Yeah.
it was to happen, like it should be across all boards. Everybody gets treated equal.
If I could choose the possibility of women being drafted or not, I would choose that they're not. Well, I don't want
saying
my
anyone.
daughter to be drafted.
I think if you draft, at least account for the differences, please.
Female sex workers should be more respected.
I don't know a ton about this topic, but I do think I subscribe to the idea that legitimizing sex work reduces the safety risks associated with that profession. It's a very old profession. It's been around for a while.
It's going to continue to be around.
I think it's also, there's tools out there like OnlyFans that I think has put a lot of the power in the hands of the creators.
A lot of people don't realize, like, nobody.
It's so interesting because it's not even the goddamn question. The question is about being respected.
Like actively chooses to be in sex work. You're usually going to sex work because of social situations, and if it's a black market, most people ask why I joined the military. It's like, because I was poor. Like, there was no other fucking reason. And I'm not saying it would get rid of exploitation, but if women have legal protections, like if I was a prostitute and I could go up to a cop and say, hey, I got beat up and my money stolen, not being worried about being arrested, like I would be more likely to report crimes and get the people who are causing problems.
Yeah, and then for the people who just want to do it and want to just like own their sexuality, own their body, and use it as a commodity, a way to make money, they should be able to do that in a way that is safe, in a way that they own all of the videos, all of the content that they make, and in a way that is equitable for them.
When it comes to
This is so weird. They're not talking about the question. The question is about being more respected.
respect, there's two definitions. Respect either can mean like politeness, like you wouldn't shut the door on somebody that's like walking behind you, like be respectful. The other respect is usually if you do something that in the workplace that garners approval, you've completed a goal. So when we talk about respect when it comes to sex workers,
Yeah, please get them back on the topic. And that's what they're doing, is that the male feminists, they're avoiding the respect question. And they're trying to make it seem like to be a sex worker, right, like they should be protected and women should be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. But that's not the question. The question is about respect. I did a video not too long ago about a teacher that was fired from her job because it was discovered that she had an OnlyFans. And she was busting it wide open with her husband on the OnlyFans while being an active teacher, not even like a substitute, something like that, like an active teacher. And she got up and she was talking about how she can no longer afford like to live. So so she started to like put her ham hocks on the goddamn internets to make additional money, as if there are not other goddamn options, right? The thing is what this question is alluding to is, should she have not got fired because she should be just as respected as a teacher putting her insides on the interwebs? I completely disagree. I would not want my children being in and around the space of the ideology of a sex worker that is being taught, that is teaching them.
should we be polite to them? Probably. That would be a human thing to do. I don't have to, but yeah. I prefer OnlyFans over the traditional porn industry.
Yeah, because you own it, and then it's
women
a lot more
got
protected.
sex trafficked.
But that agency is important to
I
know
think
that it's
so,
what
yeah.
you own, and to have that respect put onto you that like this is your content you're putting out into the world.
Yeah, now it's their copyrighted material. Before, when it was the old porn industry, they didn't have rights to those videos, and that's a huge thing. Like if I want to take my stuff down, you have to go to a court with.
They're throwing out red herrings,
and it just.
That's what happened with Mia Khalifa. That was her whole thing, and luckily now she has a very successful career doing like sports commentating and stuff. But that's unfortunately, that's not the rule, that's the exception, where
But,
she's been able to be
it's
successful.
a role model.
Right off the bat, you said Mia Khalifa went from being a porn star to being a sports commentator.
She went back.
That is something that we should be directing women towards. It shouldn't be, okay, well, you know, she's gonna go do an OnlyFans or she's gonna be in 50 porn videos to get paid. When we're encouraging women to go out of their way to sell their bodies on the internet because that's a means to an end, we're not doing that the right way. And I don't think the feminist movement should be moving in the direction of normalizing sex work when we should be encouraging women to value themselves, value their body, value their talent, and take that elsewhere.
There's a lot of things in place, though, for women. Like, yeah, there's obviously a need if they're in maybe a lower economic class or something, but at the end of the day, that's more of like a morality topic, you know? And so you can't really force that on everybody. I agree with you.
Right. The other thing would be is that women are not happy when they're doing this. It's not empowering as a woman. You can go on Twitter and see these women who are in their 30s with an OnlyFans link in their bio, but with no kids, no husband, no specific thing to actually care about. It's all about materialistic things. These are the same women that you're seeing tweeting about how sad they are. They're tweeting about
though.
It's not generalized. It's the majority of those women. They are on antidepressants.
And female adult entertainers have a ridiculously high rate of self-deletion.
I'd like to speak because I've actually been in the industry.
Okay,
so
makes
I was
sense.
trafficked for a decade. You hit the
Wait,
nail.
she said what?
That's okay. You hit the nail on. So I was trafficked for a decade.
What?
You hit the nail. That's okay. You hit the nail on the head. I came from a very poor socioeconomic background. I was a product of the state. And so I speak from experience when I say it's not empowering, it's not glorifying, it's not owning your body. None of that stuff is true. No little girl when they're 4 or 5 says, I want to grow up and be a hooker. OnlyFans is the biggest pimp of them all. They're still taking 20%, and your content still gets leaked a lot.
I agree. I'm not in favor of any kind of exploitation. I also am uncomfortable by the idea of like women I know if they were in that industry, like I admit, like it makes
I'm gonna stop her right there. Yeah, you can say OnlyFans is the biggest pimp. That's cool. I don't know a pimp that only takes 20% though. Like pimps take 100%. Shit, YouTube takes from me like 45%. YouTube pimping the shit out of me. Like, damn, yeah, I don't even know if y'all know that. Or even the super chats that y'all send, YouTube takes 30% of those. So you send a $100 super chat, YouTube takes $30. Let's put my Cash App down up in here.
makes me feel uncomfortable. My
That's
gut
his
instinct.
So you have a daughter. I'm going to be having a daughter in 4 months.
Let's just go back to the daughter.
So, well, I mean, it's a good question because you're raising a human being for the future of society that we're going to all shape. How does it make you feel to raise a daughter in a world where you can either preserve, you can either preserve her innocence, or you can step away and let her do the OnlyFans
How about respect femininity?
It's a great question, and there's two truths.
feminism.
There's two truths that I feel like I can hold at the same time. One is I would be very uncomfortable if any female relative was, or person that I loved, was exploring that profession. Like I would have
You can't even say it.
I'm trying to be as like professional as I can.
Yeah, as a father specifically.
No. I don't think that I would fail. I would have complex feelings to navigate.
Yeah.
On a higher
You're
level,
ridiculous.
I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that profession, and I respect people who do it in a way that's fulfilling to them and that brings them happiness.
This is the shit that I'm talking about. This is a male feminist. This is a male feminist with a daughter. This is a male feminist with a daughter that can't say that he would not want his daughter to be an adult entertainer. This is what we have here today. All 26.1 women that are watching this right here, the guy's job is to make sure that she doesn't get on the pole. The guy's job is to make sure that she doesn't join the corn industry. But hey, look, if you go pick a male feminist, that's the type of ideology he's going to be utilizing to raise your daughter. Holy moly.
If someone's doing that job and it doesn't bring them joy, obviously I would not.
Holy
Most of the
moly.
women
But you have to
are doing it
understand it's
aren't
not bringing
fulfilled.
value or happiness to women.
I'm just trying not to wrap it all into one bundle because there's going to be exceptions. I think you just want to be careful of like putting a negative label over like so many people's lives.
I think should be negative though, so that young daughters don't run to her. And why don't we have more respect
them
for
enough to
femininity
love them, to
versus
direct them a
respect for
different
sex work?
way.
Men should take birth control.
Shit, I wish I could.
I think it should be a choice.
Damn, I wish I could.
Male birth control
A pill?
does exist. The problem is there hasn't been a lot of funding into making it like commercially available.
Yeah.
It's about
probably make
making
your
it
dick
an
fall
equal
off right now.
responsibility all around. Especially if there's a more effective way, like a pill. They can't just whine about.
Yo, chat, put a 1 down into the chat if you would take male birth control, if there was like a daily pill. Put a 1 down in the chat if you would. Put a 2 down into the chat if you like, hell no, I wouldn't take that shit. Condoms are great for me. Put a 1 down. I got to see what you guys are saying about this. Put a 1 if you would take it. Put a 2 if you would not take it. And let's just say that it's been tested, it's been approved, and there was 0 chance of side effects. 0 chance of side effects. I'm not saying that this is reality, but I'm saying if it had 0 chance of side effects, 1, you would take it. 2, you would not take it. It won't make your ish fall off. Your ish not gonna turn black. You're not gonna get eggplant cancer. It's a lot of 2s. I would say it's about 50-50. Yeah, no, if I couldn't get sick from it at all, I had no long-term implications, I would take it. I don't understand. To be honest with you, I don't even understand an argument not to take it if there was no implications with it. You know what I'm saying? Then you just got to go get the, I think actually both of y'all should take it. So you have double the protection. All right, let's keep going.
The side effects when they know that it can significantly decrease a woman's quality of life when she's dealing with all this.
Her chance of fertility, her chances of, I've never been on birth control, and I don't believe in taking it. I don't believe in putting anything like that alters my body. I'm not saying either party should have it, because personally, I don't think that anyone should put that stuff in their body. But if one's gonna do it, and then the other one should have the option of doing it.
Yeah, if we're in a world where women have the access to it and men have the access to it, should is just such a strong word.
So
Make the choice for your own body. That's why I didn't walk forward. But yeah, if you both have the option.
If men had the right to birth control, then they would ultimately be coinciding and deciding if a child should come to life. Right now, women ultimately have that decision. No matter what you say, she gets to decide if she goes through with it or not.
I
think that's kind of...
I kind of don't agree with her argument. Past conception, she's correct, but beforehand, you could put on a condom. They're not 100%, but nothing's 100% effective, right? But shit, listen, if you want to be ultra safe, condom plus pulling out, that is pretty goddamn, unless you got a leaky faucet, you know what I'm saying?
Problematic for many reasons, but yeah.
It goes back to why I stepped forward with the military draft. Everyone needs to take responsibility for people's sexual and reproductive health.
But are you saying that because you know that women would want a guy to take birth control? That's more of like you want to please the feminists?
Please myself, because I'm a feminist.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying male feminists have a tendency to have the talking points, and they're like, women want us to take the birth control, so I guess we will, but do you actually think that you would?
Why wouldn't I?
Why don't you get a vasectomy?
I did.
Did you?
I have a vasectomy.
So there you did it. All right.
Okay, yes.
I decided to get a vasectomy because I wanted to play a small, very small part in having men take more responsibility for their sexual and reproductive health. And once I learned more about vasectomies and the procedure, it seemed like a no-brainer for me to get it. I've known for a few years that I didn't want children, and so I'd been thinking about getting a vasectomy. And then Roe v. Wade got overruled, and I just looked into it, and I started doing more research on it, and free of insurance.
Yeah, I was going to say insurance.
No side effects. It's an outpatient procedure, so you go in, 20 minutes, you're out. You go. I went to work the next day. You should not take it if you have any inkling of a doubt about not wanting biological children, because it's not 100% reversible.
But in some cases they do it,
Right. It's preposterous to me that it's only about 5 to 6% of men in the US have a vasectomy, because definitely more than 5 to 6% of men in the US don't want to have children.
Kids. That's true.
Yeah,
Because it's like condom,
with hormones. I know why.
vasectomy. There
That's
is
it.
no
There's
there's no
nothing in
middle
between,
ground
yeah.
between the two.
But-
Pull
And
out.
I think it's because of patriarchy. I know you hate me using that word,
Shut up!
but like I think it's
No,
because we
of
prioritize.
gynocentrism, that's why. Listen, we have advanced so much. You don't think they could come up with a pill at this point? Think about it.
They've come up with one. Just it's
It's
not
just that
commercial.
there's not a market for it.
Gynocentrism is like a...
Okay, so I want to hear from
Welcome,
the
Greg
disagreeants.
Carter, to the membership.
One thing that
Shout
I
out
do
my
agree
G.
with is the fact that birth control has a lot of side effects. And if I'm not going to take that, and a lot of people aren't going to take that and have the side effects, then I don't think men should have to either. I think we live in an over-sexualized society where we're trying to, yes, find ways to solve this issue because you cannot stop everybody from doing it. Why not preserve and protect yourself and not go around and sleep with everybody?
But that is
There's a
message
very
is very, very
small minority.
small group of
Right.
people that believe that, mostly in the faith-based communities. But as far
that's
as
your right to be able to do that and make that decision, and you know, we totally.
I just don't think
totally
it's
respect
ever
it.
going to
Michael,
get
I don't
like.
think
$5
it should
super
be,
chat.
like,
Shout out my G.
imposed on everybody type of a thing.
I'm not for male birth control by force. If somebody wants to take that, yes, but I think there needs to be more comprehensive research and stuff. Female birth control is a little sketchy at times because there have been incidences where they've had to recall stuff because
Yes,
they kind of,
women
they
died.
con- I
Yeah.
think one of them was like the old Yaz. They had to recall
Yeah.
it because it was causing
Yeah.
like blood clots or something.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
crazy.
very
Most
common.
birth controls cause.
Yeah,
That's what's caught,
and
yeah.
I hope we get to a place where
Yeah.
we're not using things where hormone, because the other thing is a lot of people don't get blood tests to check their hormones on a regular basis. And actually, technically, birth control, female birth control, is an oral steroid.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It's actually a 19 nor, and like people are taking steroids.
I think we're going to find out decades from now how harmful this actually
has
is, probably
been.
for
And-
both sexes.
And like
Unfortunately, like the pharmaceutical industry is so based on profit that like if they think men aren't going to take male birth control, they're not going to put in the research, they're not going to create it, they're not going to invest in it. So if we socialize and say, hey, like this is a responsibility men should also have, then we can get research into all birth control to make it safer and more effective for everyone, so that we don't not everyone has to be like experiencing these horrible side effects.
Yeah, his talking points are all central around society coddles men. Society doesn't have any expectations for men, right? Like he just said, like, you know, if society would just tell them to just, you know, if we could just build something for them, like, come on, my G, as if condoms are not created for men. Like he just thinks that like because of the patriarchy, then there's not a pill created for a man. And there's no scientific explanation as to why they focus on women as opposed to men. There's like no focus of that at all. It's just the patriarchy just didn't want to make men take medicine because the men probably won't take it anyway. It's so asinine. His points are just so ridiculous. I would say, so if I was to rank them so far, this guy is the most, well, probably because he's a biological woman. The biological woman is the most ridiculous out of all of them. I would say a close second. In the beginning was the power lifter looking guy, but definitely when this guy over towards the left is talking about as a father, that I mean she can do whatever she wants, adult entertainer, this that, like, and then the last place would be this guy over here, but he just hasn't talked as much. As far as the anti-feminists. This lady on the right, she's overwhelming. She's dominating the conversation right now. But a lot of her talking points are very poignant and very salient and easy to understand. I would say in second place would be, I would say the lady in the black shirt with the odd dress on the top. I would say she's second. I would say it would be a tie right now between Amala and then the redhead right here. All right? Let's keep going.
Being a mother is the most valuable thing a woman can do.
Oh, shit.
You are a mother. I am I am a mother, but she'll be born later. When you choose to have a kid, you're putting aside what
not necessarily what you want to do in the future, because I believe that women have every opportunity to still pursue what they want to do, even becoming a mother. It's very fulfilling in a sense to be that selfless, to bring a human being into the world and give everything to them and watch them grow up and become their own person, and to feel that love unconditionally that something materialistic will never give you.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember my life before my son. And it really makes me
Whoa.
sad today that more women, 10 years, more women in the United States will be opting out of marriage, out of children. That just is insane to me. It's innately in us to nurture and to love and to care and to create life. We literally give birth. It's an ability, a gift, and it's also, too much is given, much is required. It's a massive responsibility to raise a child, knowing that, as someone said earlier, your children are going to be the future of our planet. Wow,
Again, I want to hear more from the disagreeers.
We're running the moms through the dirt. That's what I heard.
I think it's going to be the most valuable thing that I do in life, to have children and create a family. It's just such a subjective thing, and there's so many things that people contribute to the world. And for, I think, most women, when they leave this earth sitting on the deathbed, they probably will think the most powerful and valuable thing they've ever done is to create children. You know, there's like the famous quote, the greatest two things that you can leave on this earth when you die is art and children. And I think a lot of people are going to feel that way. I just don't want to subscribe value to somebody who doesn't see that as
I understand.
Yeah, or somebody who can't have kids or just chooses not to.
Right.
You know, there's
can
other
adopt.
ways to achieve greatness.
It's an interesting answer.
Being
from
a
her.
mom is a great thing. I think we all.
Being a good mom.
Does anyone?
Being a good mom, yes.
Yeah, a good mom. There's a lot of people who are moms, not everybody's a good mom.
I was raised by a single mom. On top of that, I was also adopted. So my birth mother had to make an incredibly difficult choice to decide not to pursue raising this child. And then my mother, who is a single mom, raised me and raised my siblings. The thing is she was also like a teacher and a professor and a principal and an administrator. Honestly, what feminism really should be about and is about is making it so that women, if they choose to be a mother and just do that for their entire life, they get as much respect and value and everything that they should be afforded as someone who decides to be a billionaire CEO as a woman.
The feminist movement is teaching women that it's the worst thing you could possibly do, because you're gonna lose your money and you're gonna.
I disagree, and I think sometimes sometimes some people live in echo chambers, and that might be a problem. But like, also, here's the other thing: are women not having children because it's economically difficult? Because in America, it's really hard to have a kid. It's really expensive. We don't have health care. We don't.
You're fine, but not everyone.
I know,
is
but
fine.
I'm saying that, you know, what
me and my
the act of
girlfriend-
having
me-
a kid takes, two people.
Yes, but me and my girlfriend, we could probably afford a kid, but right now it's probably not good because of
And
our
you're making that
situations.
decision. And
But
when
here's the other thing: not everybody has that decision to make, and it's actually economically really hard to have a kid in this country. Somebody's gonna have to stop working. Somebody's gonna have to make less money. There's not healthcare.
When I had my son, I had no means. I had been trafficked, obviously. I made the decision to see it as life and to have the child. And I had the child, and I was homeless in Newport Beach 8 years ago. When my son was just still nursing, 10 months old, worked around the clock and didn't stop until he was almost 5 years old, so until I got my degree. Well, free
How do you
credits.
handle childcare?
And the county pays for it. That's why I'm trying to say we do have resources. I was a full-time
Yeah,
student,
but that's
and because
Newport
of
Beach. Like that's not everywhere.
California is
And
one of the more
dissect
If you're-
every
if you're a
county
single
and see
mom-
which counties offer it.
California is one of the more
Yeah.
exceptional.
So I do think there's resources if you look for them. And I
sure.
don't think that just saying, oh, it's expensive to have a kid. Like,
Woe is me, I
Yeah, it's a
can't have a kid
cop-out.
because I'm too poor. No, we live in a country where, like I said earlier, we have the opportunities to pursue what we can and what we
there's
want to do.
government
And I don't
assistance,
think the
there's
feminist
help.
movement has any place to tell someone that they're too dumb or too poor to be able to have a kid.
Oh, absolutely not. No
But
one
that
should
is
be-
Now, but no, hold up. There's some people that's too goddamn poor to have 5 kids, right? But they keep on goddamn having them. I saw a video the other day of this young lady. She's on her like 13th kid, and the video zooms. I'm gonna try to pull this video up. The video, they go into her apartment, and she said, "Someone gotta pay for these goddamn kids. Someone's gotta pay for them." Ma'am, you keep your damn leg closed. What is wrong with you?
is what the
Let me try to
feminist
find this
movement
video.
is doing.
I agree. Yeah, maybe it's not as cool or fashionable to become a parent. Maybe like that's not,
not.
What people are valuing. Feminism to me, and I think to the other guys here, is just like viewing the sexes equally and feeling like they should have equal opportunity. I don't think it expands much beyond that. No one here is saying it's not cool to be a mom, or women shouldn't aspire to be a mom if that's going to be fulfilling to them. If that's like your path, by all means, I think you should do it. My wife was very specific and like direct with me when we started dating. She's like, I want to have kids. This is important to me. Are you on board or not? And that was something, a goal that we set for ourselves. But she's not just a mom. You know, there's other things. She has other ambitions.
I think this is it.
Example for many of what they say is a broken welfare system here in America. And now Angel is facing eviction, and once again, she is demanding someone else pay. News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson joining us now live from the Hillsborough County Courthouse, where Adams was in front of a judge again today. Jeff?
Yeah, good evening, Rod. Angel was back in court today. Angel Adams, now Angel Brown, became very famous, and actually, out of all of the stories I've ever done at News Channel 8, she's the one most people talk about. She's the one most people remember, all because of one phrase she uttered when I first met her.
Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay. Somebody needs to be held accountable, and they need to pay.
When I first...
God damn! Look at all them goddamn kids! Shit!
First met Angel, she was...
Mother of 17! Look at this shit! Shout out to Manny with a $5 super chat. When they acted like the rest of the world isn't poor and still have kids, they live in the top 30% of the world. That is a fact right there. God damn! This is an entire basketball team and football team.
Was living in a one-bedroom motel.
God
12
damn!
of her children were sharing just 2 beds, and Angel demanded that someone pay for her to
close
move
her
into a new
uterus.
house. With the help of the Department of Children and Families, Angel moved into a new home. But when someone posted stories about her on YouTube, she became internationally famous as an example of what is wrong with the welfare system in America. Angel doesn't care that people across the country hate her.
That's okay because they don't know me.
Now Angel and her husband are back in trouble and back in court.
Our lights go on, they go off. They go on, they go off.
Angel is facing eviction from her home, and her power has been turned off because they owe nearly $600 in back payments. Angel told the judge she used a check from the Tampa Housing Authority that was to pay for the power bill to pay instead to evacuate her children during Hurricane Irma.
And I used it for my children to evacuate for the Irma hurricane. When they told us to get out, I used that money to evacuate and get my children where they needed to be.
The judge told Angel and her husband the bill is theirs to pay.
You're asking me to make an agency pay money above and beyond what they committed to pay, and I don't have that authority.
And so Angel is facing eviction once again from this home. The landlord has not been paid rent in 3 months.
Wow.
And Angel is wondering where now to turn.
My children are hungry. My children are afraid. My children are cold. My children can't function in school. My children, they're not doing very well at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's not funny, it's so sad.
Working with Angel to try to find her and her husband and her children a new house. But here's an update on Angel. When I first met her 10 years ago, she had 15 children. 12 of them were living with her. Now she has 17 children. 5 of them are living outside of the home. And the question everyone always asks, why does she have so many children if she can't pay for them? And the one thing Angel has always maintained, she says, children are a gift from God. Rod?
This is the clown's world. Summon my inner James Brown. This is a clown's world. This is a clown's world. Don't you bring God into this. What's wrong with you?
And she can do both of those things, and I think we all feel that that's possible. So when I hear you say, you know, like feminism is saying that like moms can't do this or don't be a mom, I'm not sharing that experience of
Well,
that,
that's
of
good.
that information.
We don't shame motherhood like our side. We promote it a lot of the times, but whenever you hear the opposite thing, it's usually from the feminists.
Men need to be masculine to keep their families safe.
You goddamn right.
Of course he's going to step forward.
Which is so crazy because how often do you see women reverting into their masculine if they are a single mother? They do that to protect the family. Every man needs to understand that they need to be dangerous. You need to be unfuckwittable. You need to be strong. You need to understand how to use your tools. You need to understand how to stand up to people. You need to understand when to be confrontational. These are all masculine characteristics. What? Think about how foo-foo and weak of a society that we have here today, that these men don't believe that you need to be masculine in order to protect. What?
Get him.
Holy shit.
I think there's a reason why people love Andrew.
You have
Tate.
to be
Whatever
dangerous.
you think about him in regards to what he's being accused of, which he has not been proven, but that's neither here nor there. Men gravitated toward that. Why? Because he spoke to men in a sense of being a man, being a protector, and you have to be in charge of all your faculties and think more critically. So those aspects of masculinity appealed to men because men want to innately protect. If I go on a date and you take me on a date, and he's like, no, I wouldn't, but that's okay. And you take me to a dinner and you don't sit facing the door, I'm never going out on another date with you. It's not like we're helpless, like, I can't do anything, but having a man stand by you, protect you and your family and your children, masculinity is very important.
There are situations, like for example, like I'm like 230 pounds, my girlfriend's like 110, 5'2". Like, there's no way if somebody breaks in a house that she's gonna fight them off, unless she has a gun on her or something. But so in that situation, I would fill that masculine role. But like anybody can be strong. Anybody, like in a situation where I'm not there, I would hope if we had kids, she could protect them and defend them like the best she could. Where I get the issue with like, oh, men need to be masculine. It's like, oh, men need to always go work and bring the money and all this stuff. Because my girlfriend, she's highly educated. She actually makes way more money than I do, like way more. I work as a personal trainer. I don't make as much as she does. It is traditionally not very masculine for a woman to make more money than a man. And I know some people, they will be like, oh, you're not a real man if your woman makes more money than you. That's pathetic. Why is she with you? You sound like a loser. Things like that. And I don't let that define my masculinity. I used to be insecure about it, but now I've grown more mature, and I feel like we're getting to a society where that's less of a problem. And like some people might disagree with this, and like, but it's just my opinion. I think to raise a son, it's easier if you're a man. It doesn't have to be a father. It could be an uncle or some positive role model. Same thing with a positive female role model, because like, I don't know what it's like to be like a female going through puberty, but I was a young man. Right now, a lot of our young men are misguided, and a lot of them are making bad decisions. And it's because like a lot of these young men get this testosterone boost, their brains aren't fully developed, and they like, the vast majority of crimes are committed by 16 to 23-year-olds.
The reason I walk.
This guy said that if someone breaks in, I'm going to fulfill that masculine role. Then he said, if I wasn't there, then my wife would be there. Hey, guess what? If your wife doesn't get into her masculine, the family's gone. The family's gone. Or abducted. This is so crazy. This is so wild. You know, I wonder if they had the opportunity, before they got into a conversation regarding feminists and anti-feminists, if they took out like the definition of like masculine and feminine, right? Like, I wonder if they even have like a precursory understanding of like what these definitions are, or if they're just bending it and moving it as they continue off in the convo.
Forward is about exactly what you just said. Men have these feelings and this aggression often deep inside them, and it's about using that aggression or those feelings that you have to protect rather than to inflict.
Yes, so you need to be dangerous,
I
but
guess I'm
selectively
just not
dangerous.
entirely sure what, like, just masculinity in general has to do with keeping people safe.
Could I quickly respond? And that I just think it's that men have that natural propensity towards it. If I think of roles in society that are protectors, we could say police officers, anybody who's going to take on that role of physical aggression in order to stop a bad situation from happening. Men tend to take those roles, and if you just look at the demographics of those roles in particular, men choose to take that on, and they persevere and drive for it.
Let's say I get married to a guy and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. That's fine. I enjoy working. So I actually wouldn't be totally opposed to me grabbing the gun if an intruder came in and being the one to kill somebody, if my husband's normally like the one protecting the kids, I guess. I don't think it necessarily matters who's protecting the family, just somebody must.
I like what you said about intuition though. Like my wife has a lot of intuition. I think she's better than me at like helping us avoid unsafe situations.
But to physically combat a stranger that's at your door with a gun, a mask on, and is breaking in.
Yeah, it's convenient to have someone who's more like him than.
But would you send your wife
But I
who's
just don't think
intuitive to
men-
use her intuitive powers to handle that, to protect? Or would you use your masculine, my daughter's protected, I'm going down there?
If we get attacked, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my
That's-
family. That's not men having to be masculine. I just think that's people protecting those they love. I think when women are put in situations where they have to protect their families, they can exert tremendous force. Obviously,
Sure.
they're more vulnerable because they're not typically like as strong on average.
I'm full of testosterone, right?
But I just don't. I don't think like this is something men have to do. I think you gotta be careful about putting pressure on men to embody some sort of like macho, tough, violent.
I don't think it's macho.
I've had men in my life who like embody that tough role.
This is
and
so crazy.
It like creates uncomfortable environments. It sometimes invites aggression, danger to the situation. It's a certain role playing that I think men actually, it's beneficial to grow out of.
Why do you think
This guy is so, like the soy is just dripping out of his nose right now. Like this is so ridiculous. Shout out to Excel Self with the $10 super chat. Shout out to Torsha for speaking it out against gynocentric supremacist movement. This is so crazy. Where are the women that are selecting men? Like this is the type of guy where, right? Like there's a real debate if there's some danger up ahead. Like, honey, are you gonna do it this time? Right. There's some real consideration right there. This should terrify women, to be honest with you. This should. It doesn't terrify women that really don't understand combat. They really don't understand the need to be dangerous within dangerous situations. It doesn't at all, right? Like one of the girls was saying earlier that, I think it was the young lady with the extremely large fake mammary glands, but was saying that the one thing that she wished that women had as much of with men is like physical strength, right? And thinking through walking down a dark alley and there's a guy behind you and you're physically smaller than someone else. And if they wanted to subdue you, they absolutely could if you didn't have a tool at your disposal. So for him to not consider the biological reasons why he should be the protector, need to be masculine, the need to be a dangerous person at a moment's notice, need to know how to fight, it should terrify women that this is the avenue that we're going down for the modern man today, that they can be selectively feminine when they need it the most. And the idea that women select men like this, it just boggles my mind. Shout out for the $10 super chat. Shout out to D.I. Young for joining the channel membership.
it's a role?
Woohoo!
What if that's just
Well, then I think they should go to therapy and work on it, or
But
like
why do
play
you
a
think
sport and get out that aggression.
So I understand.
Aggression isn't bad.
I always hear from other male feminists like, oh, that guy's trying to be a macho guy. Why?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think sometimes it's not genuine. He's playing a character. Actually, I'm usually the one to de-escalate situations because of how I look and how I am presented. So I de-escalate. And actually, I always tell people I don't, and I always encourage young men.
See, there's a thought there that being masculine is not de-escalating situations, when in fact, I think that men that are heavily masculine are the best de-escalators, because they have the best tools at their disposal to de-escalate. A man does not, it is unsafe to de-escalate an aggressive male with a weak male. When in nature does that happen? The aggressive male has to pity the weak male.
Avoid the fight.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it, stay away. But if you have to, obviously do what you have to do, like survive. And I would say to women or anything, but don't start and actually try to deter, get away, because violence should be always a last resort. Violence only brings more violence.
He assumes masculinity means
between
violence.
Men and women should be celebrated.
I'm talking about poles of energy. We have polarity in everything in the universe, from the battery. You can't put two negatives into a battery and it works. You can't put two positives, has to go flop. So there's poles day and night. Everything, yin yang, it's energy, and we are energy.
I don't think everything's polar though.
It is though.
Why apply one lens to the whole
you just stepped
universe?
forward with the prompt that said that masculine men and women's differences should be celebrated.
I want to celebrate the difference between men and women, but I feel like you have this tendency to apply sometimes like these quantum or
because
like
it is, because we live in a quantum universe of masculine and feminine energy.
But you guys do the same thing too, though.
I think he's just saying to celebrate differences doesn't mean we exist on two opposite poles, and
I'm saying that.
Yeah,
so
like,
I'm saying that.
There's things exist in nature that are triangles or triads. Like not everything's yin and yang. You know.
But it kind of is. I actually believe that the masculine energy is elevated in a sense that they have more responsibility as protector, provider. And so for women, we lean to them and we look up to them as the leader. So not to say that they're not equal, but there's a little bit more responsibility in the masculine field. And without those outlines of structure, then we have chaos and we don't have a society. We have no more children because women aren't having children anymore.
I don't think I fear chaos as much as you. You threw in a little nugget, I have to take it. You do see women as not,
I don't see them as the same level as men.
Let them talk.
I would encourage you, from a loving place, to just maybe challenge that. How might your experience change if you saw yourself?
I think women are 4 quarters, a guy is $1. I think they're equal, and they're just not the same.
Yeah, I think that the prompt and what I really took to is that it's so important for you guys to celebrate your femininity and celebrate what it means to be a woman for you, and we will joyfully celebrate that with you, right? And likewise to us. However we want to express our masculinity, that should be celebrated, right?
And, and whichever way you had to do it, and like I said, I don't think it's as rigid as we want society, some people want us to think it is, but it should be celebrated because there are innate differences that are just biological, and there's going to be those differences, and there shouldn't be anything frowned upon, women being more softer or emotional. It shouldn't be something frowned upon. But if a man chooses to be that shouldn't be that's feminine. That's not masculine. That's we should celebrate those qualities in people.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
Men are more enslaved than ever before.
This is a tough one, huh?
I agree with most of what everyone said. It's just the should. I agree that the differences between men and women can be celebrated, and I celebrate it. I think most people do to some extent. Do as you please, yeah.
I feel like it's important to celebrate it because I know for me, with gender dysphoria, I really enjoyed, emulating and having masculine traits and being a man. So being able to celebrate that and say, all right, fantastic, I can celebrate that this is a different thing than what my sex assigned at birth would tend to go for, but celebrating both sides of those things and the dichotomy that may be different is really essential to allowing anyone to really just express themselves the way they want to.
Thank you guys. You guys were all amazing.
Thank you.
Very good sports.
Yeah, I wish we could do
you guys
5
did
more
great.
prompts.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to Jacob Heck with the $10 super chat. These guys, the type to have an open relationship and tell his girls, dude, stop it. You're being too rough and hurting her. Shout out to Jacob. My brother, appreciate the $10 super chat. Yeah, those are, hold on, let's take a look at these things right here. Let's give a formal inspection. Let's take a look. Let's give a formal inspection. Hold on. Let's take a look. Them things is thangin'. Them things is thangin'. I don't know though. You know, when I see them like that large though, it's just like, it's a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? When you can see the whole, let me see what I can do here. When you can see the whole reflection of the set design, it's a little bit too much for me. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't quite do the things that she would want it to do, you know, for a young scholar like myself. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see him this big, I'm just like, okay, you were in porn at some point, right? I think she said that this is, you know, she was in like sex work or something like that. She grew up homeless. At some point, someone ascertained for her the balloons of salvation. You understand what I'm saying? Her dress is fire though, low key. The dress looked like a dress out of a damn, like a 16th century Victorian, right? Like, but it's like the Mary Magdalene version. You know what I'm saying? Like the scarlet letter version dress of the Victorian. You know what I'm saying? Cool ass dress era. You know what I'm saying? But God damn, squeeze them motherfuckers and just the milk just shoots across the goddamn, shoots across the goddamn room. You know what I'm saying? I can see the whole set behind her just shining off of them, these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get this off of the screen. You know, it's not my type. It's not my thing. It's not what I want to do. A little bit too far. Here's the thing: is that with the clothes on, they look particularly enticing. But the thing is when you take them off, it's like, well, what does it look like? You know what I'm saying? Now I will say I am not too experienced with the implant life. Right? It's not something I have a lot of experience in, but you know what I'm saying. I've seen a lot that they don't look natural when you take them off. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me get out of here. Oh, we had fun here today. Shout out to everybody that came through. I appreciate you guys for coming through, chilling with your boy. Last but not least, as I told you guys before, mtarmy.com. If you want to come through. Oh, shit. Is that not working right now? mtarmy.com. All right, let me make this smaller. New website alert. New website alert. All right. mtarmy.com. Shout out to the new website. All right. You can get access to the Reddit, the Discord, book a consultation. Look at that. The video that we're doing right now is on the website already. Look at that shit. Technology. All right? Go check out the website. See what's in store. See what's up there. All right? Shout out to the community. Shout out to the family. Shout out to the MT Army. Guys, I appreciate you. Now, last but not least, what I will say is that keep logged to the channel. Turn on your subscription box right now to alerts. I have a surprise coming in tomorrow. All right? I got a surprise coming in tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow, so make sure that you guys come and that you get locked in. All right? Shout out to the moderators as well. Shout out to all the super chatters tonight. I appreciate you guys, all right? Until next time, YouTube, peace.